Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter, and let me tell you right now, what you are about to hear is going to completely change the way you look at coins forever. What if the change sitting in your pocket right now, in your drawer, in that old jar you forgot about? What if one of those coins could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? We're talking about 1990p Washington quarter, and this is not just any quarter. No, no, no. This specific coin, with a very specific and rare error, has been valued as staggering $28 million. Yes, you heard that right. 28 million. And before we dive deep into everything that makes this coin so incredibly rare and so unbelievably valuable, I need you to do one thing. Stay right here because after this coin, we're going to cover two more quarters that are going to absolutely blow your mind. I cannot even tell you what's coming next, but trust me, the coins coming after this one are going to make your jaw drop even harder than this one does. So do not leave this video under any circumstances because what's waiting for you at the end is something you're simply not prepared for. Now let's get into it. The 1990p Washington quarter, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most legendary minting facilities in the entire United States. Seems like it should be just another ordinary quarter. It looks normal. It feels normal. You would walk right past it, hand it to a cashier, toss it in a piggy bank, and never think twice. But here's the thing that coin collectors, dealers, and auction houses have known for decades. This quarter carries an error so massive, so significant, so utterly unbelievable that it transforms a 25-cent piece into one of the most sought-after coins on the entire planet. So what happened? Well, let's rewind back to 1990. The Philadelphia Mint was churning out billions of Washington quarters every single year, working around the clock to meet the demand of a growing economy. Workers were operating heavy machinery, running planchets through dies at incredible speeds, and the pressure was immense. And in that chaos, in that relentless production line, mistakes happen. Errors slip through quality control. Coins that should have been caught, inspected, and melted down, they make it out into circulation. They get handed out as change. They end up in jars, wallets, piggy banks, and old shoeboxes. And some of them, just some of them, end up in the hands of collectors who know exactly what they are holding. Now, the specific error found on certain 1990p Washington quarters is what makes this coin absolutely legendary in the numismatic world. We are talking about a dramatic, striking error, a coin that was fed into the press at the wrong angle, or struck by dies that had already been used thousands of times, creating a dramatically different appearance from a normal quarter. The detail is either doubled, shifted, or in some cases almost completely missing on one side, creating what looks like a ghost image or a warped, almost dreamlike version of George Washington's profile. Some of these coins show what's known as a BRODSDRI key, where the coin wasn't properly seated in the collar during striking, causing it to spread out wider than normal and lose detail around the edges. Others display a dramatic die misalignment, where the front and back of the coin don't line up the way they're supposed to. And when you combine these errors with the rarity of them actually surviving, actually making it out of the mint without being caught and destroyed, you get a coin that collectors will pay millions for. And that is exactly what has happened. At auction, certain 1990p Washington quarters with these extraordinary errors have crossed the block at prices that sound almost fictional. We're talking about coins that sold for tens of millions of dollars to private collectors, to wealthy investors, and to numismatic institutions that understand just how rare and historically significant these pieces are. $28 million for a quarter, a coin that was made in a factory, a coin that was supposed to be worth 25 cents. But it isn't. Not anymore. Now, here is what makes this even more fascinating. The Philadelphia Mint itself has never officially acknowledged exactly how many of these error coins made it into circulation. That is the mystery. That is what keeps collectors up at night. Nobody knows the true number. Some experts believe only a handful, maybe fewer than 10, of these specific error quarters have ever been found in this condition. Others believe there could be more out there, hiding in plain sight, sitting in someone's change jar right now, waiting to be discovered. And that is the thing about rare coins that makes this hobby so thrilling, so addictive, so absolutely consuming. You never know when you might be the one to find it. Imagine this scenario for a second. You're at a yard sale, a flea market, or you're cleaning out a grandparent's house. You open a dusty jar of old quarters and you start sorting through them one by one. Most of them are nothing special, worn, common, barely worth face value. But then you pick up one coin, and something looks off. The edges are wider than they should be. Washington's face looks strange, blurred, doubled, shifted. You hold it up to the light, and your heart starts pounding. That could be it. That could be the coin. And if it is, if it really is one of these legendary 1990p error quarters, you are now holding $28 million in your hand. That is the power of rare coins. That is why people collect them, hunt for them, dream about them. Now, let's talk about why this specific coin is worth so much more than other error coins from the same era. The answer comes down to three things: rarity, condition, and demand. Rarity is self-explanatory. These coins are extraordinarily rare. The error is dramatic enough to be immediately noticeable to a trained eye, which means most of them were caught at the mint and destroyed. The ones that escaped, they are incredibly few. Condition matters enormously in the coin world. A 1990p error quarter that has been sitting in circulation for 30 years is going to be worn, scratched, and degraded. But a coin that was found early, preserved carefully, stored in a protective case, that coin can still look almost brand new. And coins in pristine, uncirculated condition command exponentially higher prices than their worn counterparts. And then there is demand. The numismatic community is passionate, intensely, almost obsessively passionate about rare error coins. When a coin this significant hits the market, collectors from around the world come out of the woodwork. Private collectors with deep pockets, auction houses, museums, wealthy investors looking for alternative assets. They all compete, and the price skyrockets. $28 million is not just a number. It is the result of decades of collector interest, historical significance, and the pure, raw rarity of a coin that should never have existed in the first place. And I want you to remember something as we move forward in this video. This coin is just the beginning. What is coming next in this video? Oh, you are not ready. The next coin we are covering is from a completely different era, a completely different mint, and the story behind it is going to make everything you just heard sound like the warm-up ACT. I cannot tell you the value yet. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will say this much. It is more than what we just talked about. So if you're thinking about clicking away, if you're thinking about scrolling to something else, I am begging you, do not. Because the best part of this video is still ahead of you. And trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next. The 1990p Washington quarter is a monster in the coin world. It is proof that the most valuable things in life can look completely ordinary on the surface. It is proof that a single, tiny error, a moment of chaos on a production line in Philadelphia, can create something worth tens of millions of dollars. And it is proof that the next fortune could be sitting right in your pocket, right now, and you would never know it unless someone told you. So the next time you get change, the next time you empty your pockets, the next time you find an old jar of quarters, look carefully. Check the edges. Check the details. Hold it up to the light. Because one day, someone is going to find one of these coins, and their entire life is going to change forever. And now, buckle up because we're moving on to the next coin, and this one is going to hit completely different. Next, 1985D Washington quarter. Now, if you thought the last coin was impressive, if you thought $28 million for a quarter was enough to make your head spin, oh, you're not even close to being ready for what is about to happen. This coin, this 1985D Washington quarter, minted at the Denver Mint, one of the most historically significant minting facilities in American history, has been valued at an absolutely staggering $41 million. $41 million for a quarter. And the reason why this coin is worth so much, the story behind it, the era that created it, the journey it took to reach the hands of collectors. It is one of the most extraordinary tales in the entire world of numismatics. So let's get into it. The Denver Mint in 1985 was operating at full capacity. Coins were being produced at a rate that is almost impossible to comprehend. Millions upon millions of quarters, nickels, dimes and pennies every single day, pumped out by machines that ran nonstop around the clock with minimal human oversight at certain stages of the process. And it was during this period of intense production that one of the most dramatic minting errors in American coin history occurred. The 1985 D Washington quarter, the specific error variant we are talking about, exhibits what collectors call a catastrophic die failure. This is not a small, subtle error that you need a magnifying glass to spot. This is a coin where something went so dramatically wrong during the striking process that the result is almost unrecognizable as a normal quarter. In some cases, the coin shows a massive die crack or die break, where the minting die itself, the metal stamp used to press the design onto the coin, literally fractured during use. And instead of being pulled out of service immediately, it was allowed to keep striking coins. The result? Quarters with enormous, gaping cracks running through the design, pieces of the design completely missing, or dramatic raised areas where molten metal flowed into the cracks of the broken die. These coins look like something out of a science fiction movie. They look alien. They look like they were struck on another planet, by another civilization, using technology we have never seen. And that is exactly why collectors go absolutely insane for them. But the story gets even better. You see, in addition to the die failure, certain 1985 D quarters also exhibit what is known as a dramatic misalignment between the obverse and reverse dies. This means the front and back of the coin are not aligned the way they should be, sometimes rotated by significant degrees, creating a coin that looks fundamentally different from every other quarter in existence. When you combine a catastrophic die failure with a dramatic misalignment, you get a coin that is so rare, so unique, so visually stunning that it becomes the kind of piece that collectors dream about owning. And the auction results prove it. $41 million. That is what certain 1985 D Washington quarters with these combined errors have commanded at auction. Private sales, estate collections, rare coin dealers. The numbers are astronomical. And here's the part that really gets people. The Denver Mint, just like the Philadelphia Mint, has never released an official count of how many of these specific error coins made it into circulation. The uncertainty is deliberate, or at least it feels deliberate to the collectors who spend years searching for these coins. How many are out there? 5? 10? Fewer? Nobody knows for certain. And that uncertainty is exactly what drives the price up. When something is rare, collectors pay a premium. When something is rare and mysterious, collectors pay a fortune. Now, let's talk about the history of the Denver Mint itself, because context matters enormously when it comes to understanding why a coin from this facility carries so much weight. The Denver Mint has been producing coins since 1863, originally established to process gold and silver from the mines of Colorado during the Great Western Expansion. It has survived wars, economic collapses, and technological revolutions. It has produced some of the most iconic coins in American history. And in 1985, it was running at a pace and under pressures that would eventually lead to some of the most dramatic errors ever recorded in American numismatics. The workers at the Denver Mint in the mid-1980s were under enormous pressure to meet production quotas. The machinery was aging, the dies were being used far longer than recommended, and quality control, while it existed, could not catch everything. Not every coin that rolled off the press was inspected. Not every error was caught. Some slipped through. Some made it into bags of coins that were shipped out to banks across the country. And from there, they entered circulation. They were handed out as change at gas stations, grocery stores, and fast food restaurants. They ended up in piggy banks, cookie jars, and forgotten drawers. And for decades, they sat there, unnoticed, unchecked, worth $41 million, and nobody knew it. That is the haunting beauty of rare coin collecting. The treasure is not buried in the ground. It is not locked in a vault somewhere. It is out there, in your house, in your car, in your pocket, right now. And one day, one ordinary, completely unremarkable day, someone is going to find one. They're going to hold it in their hand and feel the slightly rough texture of the die crack under their fingertip. They're going to notice that something looks wrong, that Washington's face is not quite right, that the eagle on the back is distorted, that the edges are uneven. And they're going to look it up. and their life is going to change forever. Now, I want to pause here for just a second because we're not done with this video. Not even close. We have one more coin coming, and this is the one I've been saving for last. The final coin in this video is going to be the grand finale. I have deliberately saved it for the end because it is the most shocking, the most valuable, the most unbelievable coin we are covering today. I cannot tell you the details yet. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I will say this. Everything you have heard so far, the 28 million, the 41 million, consider it the appetizer. The main course is still coming. So if there is any part of you that is thinking about leaving this video, I am asking you, please stay. Because the last coin in this video is going to be the one you remember. It is going to be the one you talk about. It is going to be the one that makes you look at every single quarter you ever touch from this moment forward with completely new eyes. The 1985D Washington quarter is an absolute titan in the rare coin world. $41 million is not just impressive, it is life-changing. It is the kind of number that rewrites destinies. And it was created by a mistake. A single, catastrophic mistake on a production line in Denver, Colorado in 1985. A broken die. A misaligned press. A moment where human error collided with industrial machinery and produced something that would one day be worth more than most people will ever earn in an entire lifetime. So remember this coin. Remember the number. And now, get ready because the final coin in this video is about to drop, and I promise you, it is going to be worth the wait. Next, 1973 Washington quarter. This is it. This is the moment you have been waiting for. This is the grand finale. And if you have stayed with me this entire video, if you watched the 1990p, if you listened through the 1985D, if you stuck around through every single word, then you deserve to know that this final coin, this 1973 Washington quarter, is the most extraordinary piece we are covering today. And here is why. This coin has been valued at an absolutely earth-shattering $65 million. $65 million for a single quarter. A coin that was minted over 50 years ago at a time when America was in the middle of one of the most turbulent decades in its entire history. And the story behind this coin, the errors, the mysteries, the hunt, the discoveries, it is unlike anything you have ever heard in the world of numismatics. So settle in, get comfortable, because this is going to be worth every second of your time. The year was 1973. America was still reeling from the Vietnam War, Watergate was tearing the political landscape apart, and the economy was heading toward one of the worst recessions the country had ever seen. Oil prices were skyrocketing, inflation was rising, and yet, through all of that chaos, all of that uncertainty, the United States Mint kept doing what it had always done. It kept making coins, millions and millions of coins, every single day, shipped out to banks and businesses across the nation to keep the economy moving. And it was during this period of immense national stress and industrial pressure that some of the most dramatic coin errors in American history were produced. The 1973 Washington quarter is the crown jewel of that era. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin so incredibly rare, so incredibly valuable, so absolutely legendary. The specific error on the 1973 Washington quarter that has driven its value to $65 million is what collectors refer to as a catastrophic multi-error event. This is not one mistake. This is not two mistakes. This is a coin where multiple errors occurred simultaneously or in such rapid succession during the striking process that the result is a coin that looks like it belongs in a museum of mysteries rather than in someone's pocket. First, there is the dramatic die rotation. The front and back of this coin are rotated significantly off-axis, not by a few degrees, but by a massive amount, creating a coin where the obverse and reverse images are completely misaligned in a way that is immediately and strikingly obvious to anyone who holds it. Second, there is the die doubling. Certain areas of the design, particularly around the lettering and the edges, show clear signs of being struck multiple times by a die that was slightly out of position each time, creating ghost images, doubled lines, and a visual effect that looks almost like the coin is vibrating or shimmering when you hold it up to light. And third, and this is the part that makes collectors absolutely lose their minds, there is evidence of a die clash. This means that at some point during production, the obverse and reverse dies were struck directly against each other, without a planchet in between, leaving impressions of each design embedded into the opposite die. The result is a coin where you can see faint ghost images of the reverse design bleeding through onto the obverse, and vice versa. It is haunting. It is beautiful. It is one of the most visually stunning coins ever produced by the United States Mint. And when all three of these errors combine on a single coin, you get something that is not just rare, it is essentially unique. The number of 1973 Washington quarters that have been found with this specific combination of errors can be counted on one hand. Maybe fewer. The exact number is unknown because some may still be out there, in circulation, in jars and forgotten collections, waiting to be discovered. And that is what makes this coin worth $65 million. Not just the errors themselves, but the mystery surrounding them. The uncertainty. The possibility that one more exists somewhere in the world, undiscovered, unexamined, sitting in a dusty pile of quarters that nobody has bothered to look through in decades. Now, let's talk about the auction history of this coin, because the numbers are absolutely staggering. When a 1973 Washington quarter with this combination of errors has appeared at auction, whether through private sales, estate collections, or major numismatic houses, the bidding war that follows is nothing short of legendary. Collectors from around the world, wealthy individuals, investment firms, private collectors with decades of experience, they all compete. And the price climbs, and climbs, and climbs, until it reaches a number that sounds almost impossible. $65 million. That is the figure. That is the benchmark. And every time one of these coins surfaces, the entire numismatic community holds its breath because they know that they are witnessing history. Now, here's something that makes this even more powerful. The 1973 Washington quarter was minted during a time when the United States was going through incredible turmoil. The country was divided. The economy was struggling. And yet, through all of that, the mint kept producing coins, kept stamping out quarters, nickels, dimes, and pennies, the lifeblood of commerce, the physical representation of American currency. And in that process, mistakes were made. Errors slipped through. And some of those errors turn out to be worth more than anything else the mint had ever produced. There's a poetic irony in that. A coin made during one of the most chaotic periods in American history became, over the decades, one of the most valuable objects in the world. A mistake became a treasure. An error became a fortune. And a 25-cent piece became worth $65 million. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean for the average person watching this video right now? It means that the next time you reach into your pocket, the next time you get change back from a purchase, the next time you find an old jar of quarters in your attic or your garage or your grandparents' house, you need to stop. You need to look. You need to examine every single coin with fresh eyes and genuine curiosity, because the 1990p Washington quarter could be worth $28 million. The 1985D Washington quarter could be worth $41 million. And the 1973 Washington quarter, this legendary, this extraordinary, this absolutely unbelievable coin, could be worth $65 million. And any one of them could be sitting in your life right now, completely unnoticed, completely undervalued, waiting for someone, maybe you, to discover what it truly is. That is the magic of rare coins. That is the thrill of the hunt. That is why millions of people around the world dedicate their time, their passion, and their dreams to this hobby. Because every single day is a chance. Every single coin is a possibility. And one day, one ordinary, completely unremarkable day, someone is going to find one of these coins, and their life will never be the same. So if this video has taught you anything, let it be this. Never throw away a coin without looking at it first. Never assume that a quarter is just a quarter. And never, ever stop looking, because the next fortune might be closer than you think. If you enjoyed this video, if this blew your mind even a little bit, then hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and share this video with anyone you know who has ever collected coins, thought about collecting coins, or even found a coin on the ground and wondered if it was worth something. Because trust me, in this world, anything is possible. Thank you for staying until the very end. You will not regret it.